boys and girls and everyone else out there. Gosh guys, I don't even know where to start today. Well, look guys, today is a very, very, very big day in the history of the Nintendo Switch. Now, what I am going to show you is a Nintendo Switch being 100% fully pwned. So, for all of you guys who may be following on the Switch scene, you may know that various teams have been working on exploits for the Switch and stuff that works to get your full exploit working on every single firmware currently available. Now, guys, the last 48 hours, there's been a crap ton of releases for the Switch. So, let's start off from where it all began. Let's go back a little bit. So, on the 23rd of April, we see the Nintendo Switch Tegra X1 boot ROM leaked. So essentially guys, with this leak, it made it possible for all hacker groups, even if they didn't have access to the Tegra boot ROM, it gave them access to the actual file itself. So like the code. So if you understand what this means is, people can reverse this and find backdoors into it. But this was a leak. This wasn't intended to be released. And shortly after this, it seems like the guys over at failoverflow release their SHOF L2. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it, which is their Tegra exploit, along with the Linux on the Switch. This is a full exploit, guys. They've released the full exploit. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe Ktemkin released the reswitched version just before them, and if we take a look in their release, they actually feature it in their video. So you guys, I'll put a link to this in the description. There's a video here that's just not loading yet. They actually have a video where they comment on Ktemkin's. Here you go. As you can see here, there's a reswitched page on Twitter, and they're going to comment on it saying, nice work. So that is showing that Ktemkin's released the reswitched exploit first. Okay? Now, you guys might be asking, what does this mean? Well, now we've got a full-blown exploit that's been released to the public, not just the boot ROM. So now we're going to go a little bit further ahead in time. So as you can see here, this is the write-up for the reswitched release. So if we take a quick look into here, so you can see there's a full write-up here. Now you guys, I'm not going to read it all for you. You can go through it and read it yourself if you'd like. But essentially, this is the boot ROM exploit that's been released by Ktemkin, and it's called Fusée Gelée. Okay, so you can download it from their GitHub if you want. I'll put a link to this in the description too. And then from here, there's just a minor release on the source code for his homebrew launcher. Now see, Pluto has actually left the scene, unfortunately, but with his source code, his application will live on, and hopefully we will see this in the future. But let's continue further. We might not even need this anymore, to be honest with you, because with the boot ROM exploit, everything will be patchable from the point that the system turns on, so this may no longer be required, but time will tell. We can see what happens. We'll go a little bit further. So Atmosphere, this is a custom firmware for the Switch. This was released. It's not finished, as you can see. You can see it here. It says it's not ready yet, but now everyone can help. So essentially, the developers behind this, which is also reswitched, I believe. Let's take a look. I believe these guys are affiliated with reswitched, and they've obviously released their Atmosphere exploit, or CFW. So this custom firmware is incomplete as stated. You can also take a read through here if you want to take a look. Essentially, with the release, it's allowing other people to take a look at it and build on the issues that are currently there. So instead of having bugs in this custom firmware, people will be able to patch it and make it better. So that way it'll work for everyone and it'll be great. So this is a very, very big feat. Trust me guys, once this is completely ironed out and there is no more bugs, this will probably be the best custom firmware, since it'll be the only one. Looks to be the first one released. Who knows if there will be any more? That's something that we're going to have to wait and see. But I would not advise you install this just yet unless you obviously know what you're doing, just because there is nothing for this yet because it's not finished. So there's a custom firmware, but there's nothing released just yet. Now I will be keeping you guys updated as news comes out. I will probably wait a little bit before I install this on my Switch, or before I figure out how to go ahead with that. I will be waiting just a little bit to see how it goes and what other people are writing about it before I go and tell you guys what to do. But for now, I would say hold off on this. If you want to install it, I would say don't do it just yet. To be honest with you, to actually get the boot Rom exploit to work, I think you will need to do some hardware modifications to your Switch. So I would steer clear of that for just a little bit longer, until perhaps something else is released which leverages the exploit without a hardware modification. But we can see where this goes. Just give it a week or a little bit longer, guys. I'm sure you guys have waited this long. You can wait a little bit longer for a couple more things, but who am I to stop you if you want to go ahead? And furthermore, we can see here that there's been another thing that's been released. So I believe it's Dolphin. So the developer has released this for the Linux port that's been created for the Switch, and it runs on the port for Linux. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not perfect yet, as it states here there's some frame skips, but with time this will be ironed out and this will work great. The Switch is a very, very, very powerful gaming console for mobility, I should say. It's a very powerful mobile console, and it has a really bright future, guys. So to summarize everything, what's been released, it's ultimate, it's infinite, it'll work on every single Switch that has been created from day 0 to now, except there will be new Switches coming out with revised hardware. So I would highly advise, if you want to get on top of this exploit, you go and pick up a Switch right now and don't wait any longer, because once those new Switches come out with the revised hardware, you will not be able to run this exploit, because this is an exploit that pertains only to the current hardware in the Switch. This is a hardware exploit. So it's in the nvidia tegra chip, which is the graphics chip. So as I said, it's up to you what you want to do, but this is the time right now to go and buy your Switch from the stores before they all sell out, and before you're getting new ones that can't be exploited. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. This is just a news video. I don't have anything to show you yet, just because I'm going to wait a little bit longer until everything's creased out a little bit more. As everything goes, it's been rushed a bit, and I don't want to put something on my Switch that could brick it potentially. So let's just wait a little bit longer, and then once I have physical evidence that other people have been trying this and they've been succeeding, I will also do this and show you guys how to make it work. But for the meantime, guys, it's a sigh of relief. I hope you guys are happy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are G'd up for what's coming soon, because this guys, this is it. The Switch has been pwned. You heard it here first. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.